Welcome to another book talk with Tracy. It is a beautiful day here in Tumbler Ridge, as you can see today as I'm filming. And today I want to talk a little bit about my book, Three Strand Cord, which actually turned out to be a 3-book series. So not only does it have 3 in the title, but it's also a 3-book series. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about the inspiration behind the book and maybe a little bit about the characters. I try to keep these videos short, so we may have to have a second segment on this book, and certainly to talk about the other books in the series. And I guess when I first started thinking about this book, for some reason I think it was in the mid-2000s, and I had kids who were into making friendship bracelets, and I noticed that sometimes they would put those on and then they'd have them on for like a really long time, shower and do everything else, and so they just never took those things off, and it seemed like that was kind of a little jumping off point, at least for the prologue, which begins with these 3 friends who meet in boarding school, and they make friendship bracelets, and then later, 10 years later, whatever it is, 15 years later, one of them is still wearing the bracelet. One of the a Bible verse that actually kind of inspired the story is from Ecclesiastes. A 3-strand cord is not easily broken. So that's where I get the title, 3-strand cord. Another thing that's kind of cool about the title, and I didn't originally intend for this to be so, but the 3 friends, their names are Stella, Charisse, and Tempest. And so each one of their names is in the title. There's Tempest, there's Stella, there's Charisse, TSC. Originally the characters had different names, but then that little brainwave came to me partway through writing, and so I changed their names so that it was reflected in the story as well. So I thought that was just kind of a cool little side note, which really doesn't affect the storyline in any case. It's a bit of a trope. The 3 friends meet in boarding school. They are very different. Tempest is shy, she's bookish. She actually is an orphan, so she's living with her great aunt. Her parents were killed in a car accident, and you can hear my neighbors next door. I suppose she would be like the nerd of the 3. Stella is very strong. She's sort of the boss, if you will. She was raised in Texas on a ranch. Her mother was a Mexican immigrant, and her mother did die, so she was raised by her father on that ranch. And that's one of the reasons why she's at the boarding school, is her new stepmom doesn't really like her or whatever, so they sent her off to boarding school. And then there's Charisse, who is the typical bubble head, blonde, boy crazy girl. And so the 3 of them end up being really good friends, even though they're from really different backgrounds, and sort of that's the setup for the rest of the story. So beyond the character development, I guess, is the plot. So there's a lot of intrigue in the book, a lot of danger. There's drug deals, there's drug busts, there's kidnapping and murder, and various other international espionage, etc., which takes place over the course of the book. One of the things that I really enjoyed about writing this book is that it was written from 3 different points of view. So all 3 of the women have their own section. And I will say that I was inspired by Maeve Binchy. I don't know if you've read any of her novels, but that's something that she's done, where she not only goes back and forth between, say, the main protagonist, especially in a romance, and her love interest, but in this case it's these 3 women, and so you see the story progressing throughout from these 3 different points of view. Then of course it weaves together at the end so that it comes together as one whole. But we don't always, know what's happening with one of the women, and so they each have their own individual story within the book, their own individual problems that need to be solved, and of course then they all come together at the end. So that's it for this segment of Book Talk, and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch the rest of the discussion on this book, you can tune in next week. If you'd like to find out more about all of my books and plays and everything else, you can visit my website, which is simply tracykrauss.com. That is TRACYKRAUSS.com, where you can read up on all of the books, plays, everything else, or purchase links, all the links to various book talks. So until next time, see you.